Good afternoon, all of you, ma.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, all of you. Good afternoon. Yes, ma'am. Okay, in the last class, we have discussed about the menstrual cycle. Okay, in the last class, we have discussed about the menstrual cycle. Okay. When you observe the menstrual cycle, period of menstrual cycle will be around 28 or 29 days. Okay, now. Okay, it is divided into 4 phases. Menstruation phase. Second one, proliferative phase. And third one, ovulatory phase. And fourth one, that is a luteal phase. Okay. That is during, okay, that means the menstruation phase starts with the menstruation. That is whatever the tissue that is formed during the proliferative phase, that one will be broken down from the endometrium wall along with some amount of blood discharged outside in the form of a liquid. And this period will occur for about 3 to 5 days. Okay, later it is followed by the proliferative phase. Okay, when you observe this proliferative phase, it is influenced by the hormone estrogen, which is produced from the granulosa cells or follicular cells of the follicular cells or okay of follicle. These will secrete estrogen with the influence of LH and FSH, luteinizing hormone and follicular stimulating hormone, which are produced from the anterior part of the pituitary gland, will influence the granulosa cells of the follicle and helps in the secretion of the hormone estrogen. This estrogen will act on the endometrium wall of the uterus. Endometrium wall of the uterus, and brings the proliferation of cells that are lining the endometrium and causes the thickening of the endometrium wall. Okay, that what happens with reference to uterus. And when you observe the ovary, inside the ovary during the proliferative phase, the primary follicle will be converted to secondary follicle. Secondary follicle is converted to tertiary follicle. And finally, the tertiary follicle will be converted to mature follicle or a Graafian follicle. And at the same time, the primary oocyte, which is arrested in the prophase 1 of meiosis 1, completes the meiosis 1 and gives rise to secondary oocyte. And this one, okay, all these events will occur during the proliferative phase. That is the thickening of the endometrium wall with respect to uterus and conversion of primary follicle to Graafian follicle during the proliferative phase in the ovary. Okay. Once the menstrual cycle reaches the middle of the menstrual cycle, at that period, the luteinizing hormone and the follicle stimulating hormone reaches a high level. Okay, especially the luteinizing hormone reaches the peak level with the high, okay, with the huge amount of production of this luteinizing hormone, which we call it as a lutein surge, which causes the rupture of Graafian follicle and the release of ovum into the body cavity. And this process we call it as ovulation. And the period of cycle we call it as a ovulatory phase. It occurs on the 14th day in a normal menstrual cycle. Okay, that is. And next, after ovulatory phase, it is followed by the luteal phase. Why we are calling as luteal phase? During luteal phase, the ruptured Graafian follicle will be converted into a yellow body mass called as a corpus luteum. Okay, this corpus luteum will secrete a hormone called progesterone, which is very, very important for the implantation and maintenance of pregnancy. And this, okay, when the progesterone levels, okay, that means gradually we can see here, there is an increase in the progesterone after the ovulatory phase, which helps in maintaining the thickness of the endometrium. Okay, this will happen if the fertilization occurs. If the fertilization occurs, by the 8th day, the embryo will reach the uterus and the corpus luteum continues to produce progesterone and it causes the implantation of embryo in the uterus. And okay, no more further menstrual cycle is observed. Okay, the progesterone levels are maintained. When the ovum is fertilized and the embryo is reached the uterus by the 8th day after fertilization. Okay, now, and the corpus luteum continues to secrete progesterone, which helps in the implantation on the 8th day. And next, followed by that, maintenance of pregnancy, the development of embryo will take place. But if the conception does not occur, that means if the fusion of male and female gamete or sperm and ova does not occur, now, and as a result, the embryo will not reach by the 8th day. The embryo will not reach the uterus on the 8th day. If it is not reached, then the corpus luteum start degenerating. You can see here, when the corpus luteum is well developed, we can see there is an increase in the production of progesterone. Once the once the fertilization does not occur and the embryo is unable to reach the uterus by the 8th day after ovulation, we can see the corpus luteum start degenerating. There is a decrease in the size. Once the corpus luteum is degenerated, there is a decrease in the progesterone levels and increase in the estrogen levels. So because of the decrease in the progesterone levels, the endometrium wall, which is before thickened, now breaks down and starts the menstrual phase, and the menstruation occurs. Understand, ma? Anybody is having any doubt here? Okay. Okay, the first menstrual cycle which occurs at the time of puberty We are calling it as a menarche. And the menstrual cycle usually ceases at the age of 50 years. The last menstrual cycle we call it as a menopause. Okay, that is. And next, we can see here some information has been added as a supplementary material. Here, menstrual hygiene. What is this menstrual hygiene? Maintenance of hygiene and sanitation during menstruation is very, very important. Okay, because the menstrual flow will occur during menstruation. Okay, the female feel certain discomfort. Okay, it is the breakdown of the tissue and there's some amount of blood. So the breakdown of tissue, that means the tissue is exposed. So if you don't maintain proper hygiene and sanitation during menstruation, it may lead to certain infections. That's why proper hygiene and sanitation has to be maintained during menstruation. So take a bath and clean yourself regularly. Okay, that is. And next, use sanitary napkins or clean homemade pads. Okay, now that means whatever the pads that are used by the female at the time of menstruation, that should be properly sanitized. Or you can use the sanitary napkins which are disposable. Once used, single use sanitary napkins. Or we can use the clean homemade pads. Okay, that is. And next, change sanitary napkins or homemade pads after every 4 to 5 hours as per the requirement. Okay, even you can change before also. It depends upon the menstrual flow. But we have to change for our minimum for about 4 to 5 hours. Why? Because the menstrual flow will be collected. Okay, and it maintains certain moisture, which will prone for the infections. That's why we have to change the pads for every 4 to 5 hours. And next, dispose of the used sanitary napkins, properly wrapping it with a used paper. That means after the usage of the sanitary napkin, the sanitary napkin should be properly wrapped in a newspaper or a paper which is already used. We should not use the fresh one because paper is of little. How many plants we are cutting down to prepare a paper. So if any paper which is used, why? Because, okay, as it consists of some tissue, blood and all this, it will prone, okay, it will attract a certain microorganisms and helps in development of certain disease causing organism, which may spread to other persons. So it should be properly wrapped in a paper and properly disposed. Okay, that is, do not throw the used napkins in the drain pipe of toilets or in the open area. Okay, don't throw in the drainage pipelines because they may clog the drainage pipelines. Okay, and next are in open area because they may help in spreading of diseases. And next, after handling the napkin, wash hands with the soap. After handling, that means after disposing the napkin, we have to wash our hands thoroughly with the soap so that we can prevent any infections. So such a menstruation hygiene has to be maintained. Then only a person will be reproductively healthy. The females. Understood. Anybody is having any doubt? Anybody is having any doubt? Pass, say yes or no.
No, sir.
Okay. And next coming to the, and next one thing, ma. Okay, the syllabus for the next week test. The syllabus for the next week test, that is a human reproduction, male and female human reproductive system. Okay, 3.1 and 3.2. Okay, male reproductive organs, axillary ducts, axillary glands. Female reproductive organs, axillary ducts, and axillary glands. Understand? So 3.1, 3.2. Male reproductive system and female reproductive system. These two are there for the next week examination. Understood, all of you? Anybody is having any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay, now clear. Syllabus. Next, coming to the topic, fertilization and implantation. Okay. So for fertilization, when the ovulation occurred and the ova is transferred to the fallopian tube, at that time, if the sperm also reaches at the same time, then only the fertilization occurs. So both has to occur simultaneously. So how they are able to come simultaneously? During copulation or coitus. During copulation or coitus, semen is released by the penis into the vagina. And this process we call it as a insemination. Okay, the process of release of semen, okay, into the vagina through penis during copulation, we call it as a insemination. We call it as a insemination. Okay, and next already we said the sperm possesses the tail and the middle piece possesses mitochondria. This mitochondria will generate a lot of energy, which helps in the rapid movement of the tail, which helps in the swimming of the sperm. Okay, that is so the the motile sperms swim rapidly, pass through the cervix. The motile sperms swim rapidly, pass through the cervix, enter into the uterus, and finally reach the ampullar region of the fallopian tube. Okay. Listen here, ma. The ovum released by the ovary is also transported to the ampullar region where fertilization takes place. So here, during ovulation, on the 14th day of the cycle, what happens? The ova will be discharged. The ova will be discharged into the body cavity. And this ova are secondary oocyte. Okay. Yes, if that's what we said no. While discussing about menstrual cycle, if the fertilization occurs, okay. But if ovum is released, but there is no coitus at the time when the ovulation occurred, then sperms cannot reach the ovum. Fertilization does not occur. So by the 8th day, embryo will not reach the uterus and implantation does not occur. The corpus luteum start degenerating and the menstrual cycle will be ended up. After menstruation, again, from the 2nd day, another menstrual cycle will start. But here, we are taking into consideration that both sperms and ova are released at the same time, are reaching the ampullar region. So the sperms which are discharged into the vagina during insemination, okay, from the vagina, they cross the cervix, they enter into the uterus, and from uterus, they enter into the fallopian tube. Okay, that is the distal end, that is the isthmus. From isthmus, they reaches the ampullar region. Understand? And at the same time, what is happening in the female means, in the female, okay, the ovulation has been occurred, the ova is discharged into the body cavity, the ova is discharged into the body cavity, and this ovum, which is discharged into the body cavity, collected by the fimbriae, the finger-like projections which are present at the proximal end of fallopian tube, which they will collect the ovum and are pushed into the funnel-like structure, which we call it as infundibulum. Okay, when you observe the inner surface of the infundibulum, it is having certain microvilli or cilia-like projections, which will pushes the ovum into the inner part of the fallopian tube. That is from infundibulum, they reaches the ampullar region and they stay in the ampullar region and waits for the sperm to reach. Once the ovum is reached the ampullar region, at the same time, if the sperms are also reached the ampullar region, then the fertilization occurs. That's what you can see here. Okay, fertilization can occur only if the ovum and sperms are transported simultaneously to the ampullar region. One thing you have to remember here, if you are following a old book, that means if you are having a old NCERT book, old version, here you can observe a change. Okay, in the old book, old version, you can find ampullar isthmus junction. But in the updated new version, we'll find ampullar region. So fertilization occurs in the ampullar region. That one only correct. That one only you have to take. That is updated in the NCERT textbook. So change that one if you are having the old version. Okay, na? That's what here also that statement. So when both sperm and ova are transported to the ampullar region simultaneously, then only the fertilization can occur. Otherwise, fertilization cannot occur. Even if the sperms or if the ovum reached later, okay, in both the cases, fertilization does not occur. That's why, this is the reason why not all copulations lead to fertilization and pregnancy. Okay, now. Ovum is non-motile, ma. Ovum is non-motile. Ovum will not move by its own. It is discharged into the ovum collected by the fimbriae. Fimbriae only pushes into the fallopian tube. The inner wall of the infundibulum, okay, or inner wall of the fallopian tube is having some cilia or microvilli-like projections, which will pushes the ovum from one part to other part. Okay, ova by its own, it is not motile. Ovum by its own, it is not motile. Okay, with the help of other structures, it is moved from one part to another part. It is freely moved, okay, released into the body cavity, and it will be not moving by itself because of the any fluids or any tissue. With the help of that, it will move. Finally, it is collected by the fimbriae, and fimbriae only pushes ovum into the fallopian tube. Once it reaches the fallopian tube, because the presence of cilia or brush border epithelium, okay, like a cilia or microvilli will be present, which will pushes the ovum into the inner part. Whereas the sperms are motile by their own because the presence of tail, a filament enclosed by the plasma membrane at the posterior end of the sperm, that is motile. But ovum by itself is not motile. Okay, that is. And next, how the fertilization will occur. The process of fusion of sperm with an ovum is called fertilization. The process of fusion of sperm with an ovum is called fertilization. During fertilization, a sperm comes in contact with the zona pellucida layer of the ovum and induces changes in the membrane that block the entry of additional sperms. Okay, when you observe here, okay, already while we are discussing about the structure of spermatozoa, we come across the acrosome. Okay, that is at the tip of the each spermatozoon, a cone-shaped structure is present. Okay, at the anterior end of the spermatozoa, we'll find a cone-like structure. That cone-like structure we call it as a acrosome. Yes, fertilization and syngamy. We'll wait. Let me complete this one. Later I will discuss. Okay. When you observe here, the acrosome, okay, are you able to see the screen now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, the structure of spermatozoon. Okay,
Yes,
at the anterior
Yes, sir.
end, okay, at the anterior end, we can see one cone-shaped structure. This is the acrosome. The acrosome encloses a large number of enzymes. All together, we call it as a sperm license. All these enzymes all together, we call it as a sperm license. Okay. In that, there are three major enzymes. One is a hyaluronidase. Next one is a acrosin. And next one is a corona. Okay, that's not corona. Corona radiata penetrating. Corona radiata penetrating enzyme. Okay, now when you observe here the structure of ovum, you can observe very clearly. Okay, during the development of secondary spermatocyte, some of the granulosa cells will detach from the follicle and get surrounded around the ovum and forms the corona radiata. Corona radiata. And inner to the corona radiata, zona pellucida. Here you can see now the light green color layer. That is okay, zona pellucida. And inner to the zona pellucida will find perivitelline space, which is covered by a perivitelline membrane. And inner to the perivitelline membrane will find the plasma membrane of ovum. Okay, now, so once the sperm reaches the ovum, the acrosome splits or bursts and releases the sperm license, which will first dissolve the corona radiata and later dissolve the pellucida, and next enters into the perivitelline space and get attached with the plasma membrane of the ovum. And get attached with the plasma membrane. The head of the spermatozoon will get attached with the plasma membrane of the ovum. And now, what happens means the sperm will discharge one of its centriole into the cytoplasm of the ovum. Once the centrioles are discharged into the cytoplasm of the ovum, some physiological changes will occur with the ovum, and it causes some cortical reaction and causes the thickening of zona pellucida and causes the thickening of zona pellucida and prevents the entry of another sperm or polyspermy. Okay, now that is so. Once the sperm reaches the ovum, the acrosome bursts and releases the sperm license or enzymes that are enclosed inside the acrosome, which helps in penetrating through corona radiata, pellucida, perivitelline space, and finally reaches the plasma membrane. Once it reaches the plasma membrane, some cortical reactions will occur with the ovum and brings some physiological changes and causes the thickening of the zona pellucida and prevents the entry of another sperm. That is polyspermy, prevents the polyspermy. Okay, that's what we can see here. During fertilization, a sperm comes in contact with zona pellucida layer of the ovum and induces changes in the membrane that block the entry of additional sperms. Thus, it ensures that only one sperm can fertilize an ovum. Okay, that is prevents polyspermy. The secretions of the acrosome help the sperm enter into the cytoplasm of the ovum through the zona pellucida and plasma membrane. This induces the completion of meiotic division. Once the sperm reaches the ovum, first it discharges the centriole and next followed by the male nucleus of the sperm, or the nucleus of the sperm is also discharged. Okay, this male nucleus which was discharged